Welcome back to the Carrie Croft Show. Today is a solo cast. It's my second solo cast ever. If you've ever sat down in front of a microphone by yourself, it's real weird. It's probably going to get easier over time, but it's real weird. This is the close of season 1 of the Carrie Croft Show. Originally, I was planning on doing 6 months for season 1. And then luckily, and I can't thank everyone enough out there who was saying yes to me right away to come on the show. We just had so much great content that it just kept rolling. And now here we are in September, closing out season 1. So a couple things I want to say as we turn the page and go into season 2. First of all, I just want to say thank you. I have got such immense gratitude for every single person out there who has listened or watched the show. We've got well over 20,000 downloads and counting. I cannot thank you enough, whether you've listened to the show once, if you've listened to all 43 episodes or anywhere in between. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It means everything that you take time out of your precious day to hit play and listen to the content that I'm putting out. So I just could never, thank you just doesn't seem like enough there. Special thanks to people who have taken the time out of their day to actually reach out to me, whether it's just to say, hey, you're doing a great job, or, I heard this episode and it really resonated with me, or you recommended this spot and I love it. It is a very weird place to be where I'm sitting as a creator. Being on this side of the fence can feel very lonely, very unpredictable, and very scary. So I come in today, I am in here by myself, I hit play and I sit down and I'm just talking from my heart to the camera. It's a really vulnerable, wild spot to be in. So when someone takes the time to reach over the fence and to say, hey, you're doing a good job and it means something and I learned something or I was inspired by that, you will never know how much rocket fuel that gives me. And I know I'm speaking for other creators out there too. All you need is just one person in a week's time to reach out and just say, good job. And you're not doing it for that, but when you're putting content out and you're like, oh, wait, am I an idiot? Do they like me? What's going on? This sucks. This is great. When you're in this sort of spin cycle with yourself, doing this thing that you love, it's really nice to hear that it's touching someone the way that you intend for it to touch someone. So you know who you are out there, the people who repeatedly are cheering me on, and the people who come, to just say one or two things. Thank you. It means everything. Your comments are etched literally in my brain and will always be there. That's just, if you can ever do that for anyone, if you have anyone out there that's doing something and they're unsure, just tell them they're doing a good job. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to take anything away from you, but letting them know you see them, it just means everything. So thank you to you guys as well. I do also want to say thank you again to those that first handful of guests who I called up and I'm like, hey, got this podcast called The Carrie Croft Show. You want to come to my house and get weird? So, Gene Smith and Diane Menashe, Bobby George, Lisa Suarez, Gretchen Dussault, the first people who took a chance to actually sit in the chair when you had no clue what the hell to expect. I appreciate you so much, and I just can't say enough about what your support has meant to me and to the show. As I reflect on the last 8 months, I've been doing this since January, which is not a long time. I decided to do it. I jumped in, and now fast forward, here we are in September. And I just want to share a couple of things for you. And I'm talking I'm talking to everybody, but I'm specifically talking to the person out there who has something that they want to start, or they've already started noodling it in their brain. Like it's already existing up in here, but you're just having this really hard time. Like you're on the diving board and you're shivering and you're looking down and it looks really scary, but what if I fail? And what are they going to think? And listen, I firmly believe that internal resistance is the universe's way. It's basically survival of the fittest from the universe's perspective. You have to make these moves that are scary and really uncomfortable to get yourself to that next step. Okay, we get that, right? But let me try to frame this in a different way that might make a little more sense to you. So I'm going to use my experience over this last 8 months as an example to maybe color this in for those people out there who are having a hard time making the leap. So I decided to start this podcast, and it was originally a healing journey for me. It was also something I was always curious about doing, and I just wanted to have a podcast that was based on the human connection. So I want my listeners to feel seen, heard, and understood through education, inspiration, levity, humor, whatever that might be. And I did it. I started, and it was scary, and it was hard, and it still is scary, and it's still hard. And I continue to go through those motions of I suck, I'm awesome, this is great, this is horrible. But where you need to really step back and understand what you're missing out on if you don't take that jump. What has happened with me in the last 8 months in terms of pathways that have been presented to me, doorways that have been opened, and perspectives that I have seen just by doing this show. So here's what I will say to you. Instead of looking at doing something scary as black and white, so thinking of it like pass, fail, succeed, fail, that's not what it is. Try and replace the fear that you have with curiosity and FOMO. Because if you don't take that jump, then all of those other pathways that will inevitably open to you from that jump will not be accessible. And so you should get real curious about what those pathways would be and have FOMO of missing out on those pathways. And let me give you some examples. Again, started this podcast, just knew in my gut it was the right thing to do. I wanted to do it. I didn't think about 8 months from January what type of opportunities would be presented to me if I started the podcast. I just knew I needed to do it. But as I'm sitting here today, 8 months later, I have now produced another podcast, meaning I have created co-created the name, the content, the logo. I'm doing the production. Like I have produced and am producing a podcast for another human being. That opportunity would never have been presented had I not put my ass in the seat. So there's a pathway that I would have never, ever even knew existed. Second one, I have been surrounded by being in this studio. I'm surrounded with creative guru, genius savants. The people who I am in touch with now and connected with are salt of the earth, do anything for you, know what they're doing, and they get it, whether it's video, audio, social media, whatnot. And I have had the opportunity to work with those people and create some things that I would never have created had I not met those people. And then here's another pathway that's opened up that I wouldn't have even dreamt of. Some of these connections, people coming in here, being on the podcast, oh, I know this person or I know that person. So I've had the opportunity to help talk to or consult founders and people who are actually trying to create something. And I would have never had that opportunity. And you know what that reminded me of? It reminded me, looking back on my time with SOS, what I love about SOS and I love so many things about my experience with SOS, but I love the beginning. I loved creating something and galvanizing a team and putting processes in place and getting something on the rails and off the runway. That was it for me. And so now, with people swirling in and out of this studio with all these different walks of life and different career paths and connections, somehow, some way, I've stumbled upon founders who need to be put on the rails and help get off the runway. And then the fourth one is me basically working on my own personal brand that I've been wanting to do for several years, which includes, again, just, helping someone start, whether it's start your family and breaking through the walls of infertility or, starting your small business, listening to your badass, this inner badass that you have inside of you. So think about this. Let's rewind for a second. I just mentioned 4 legitimate pathways that could lead to whatever I decide to focus on. It could lead to the options are endless. But had I not decided to just take that step, I would never have been afforded the opportunity of those pathways. So again, if you're out there, yes, it's scary. Yes, you question yourself. All those things, it's human nature. But try to replace your fear with curiosity and FOMO. And I think that might help you, because really, are you really going to sit still and never know? You're never going to find out what's behind the curtain for you, all of those opportunities behind the curtain. If you just start, there is no fail. If the Carrie Croft show flops, if a year from now I'm like, numbers are flat, people aren't loving this, maybe podcasting isn't my thing, that's not a fail. It's not a fail because it's led me to another pasture. That's it. So if there's any doubt out there, you just need to start. Bet on yourself and start. And I know I say this, but I mean this. Please DM me or send me an email at carrie@thecarriecroftshow.com. And I will give you a 5-minute pep talk. Sometimes that's all you need is someone who's objective. They're not super close to you in your echo chamber, and you just need someone to give you a couple minutes of, you can do this and here's how you can get it done. So again, I thank everybody from the bottom of my heart for making this last 8 months such an incredible journey. Please reach out to me. If you have gotten anything out of this show at all, if you have constructive criticism, if you have a guest you want to see, if you want to be a guest, anything that you could tell me, please reach out. Even if you're someone who doesn't normally reach out and let me know. I mean, it's literally like, let me give you some imagery. Like if I'm standing in front of a window and it's super cold outside and it's foggy and I go like this with my hand and I can see clearly, that's you reaching out to me. I can't see it. It's foggy. And so when you reach out and you give that criticism or you give that thought or that pat on the back, whatever it is that you're feeling or thinking about the show, it's like I can see it more clear and I can understand how to guide the content and how to make sure that when you sit down to listen or watch this show, that you walk away feeling seen, heard, and understood from the guest that's sitting across from me. So please communicate with me. I want to know what you're thinking and what you're feeling. Before I wrap up, I will say season 2 is going to be very, very exciting. So I've got some threesomes on deck. I'm not going to tell you with who, but very exciting. Some return guests, some new guests. But I'm excited to get this 3rd microphone in here. And I'm going to continue to be thoughtful and creative with my approach to who I bring in here. And you know what else? If you have a story, like there is no niche here in terms of like, this is business, this is fitness, you have to be a successful CEO. It's not the package that walks in here, it's the story. So the story that you have is what I'm looking for. So that package could be a 12-year-old girl. It could be a grandpa. It could be a myriad of descriptors of a human being. So if you have a story, a life experience that you have journeyed through that you feel like someone else could connect to, call me. We'll have fun. It's all editable. It's not that serious. I think you actually would, you probably wouldn't regret it. I'll make it worth your while. Anyway, thank you guys so much for continuing to listen. My cup runneth over with gratitude, and I cannot wait for season 2. Season 2 starts October 20th. So be on the lookout for the next drop, Friday a.m. on October 20th. And until next time, please reach out to me. I want to hear from you. I'm lonely over here. And keep moving.